This is Anthony LaSalle from Mrs. Carkeedy's first period class, and I will be discussing the fact and fiction of the movie Imitation Game, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley. Alan Turing was an English mathematician and cryptanalyst born in London in 1912. He is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who delivered an incredible performance as the socially awkward homosexual genius. Turing's sexuality played a significant role in this movie and in his actual life. During this time period in England, it was illegal to be gay, and anyone convicted would either spend time in jail or undergo chemical castration. We will get back to this part later, though. The movie takes place in England during World War II, and Turing is hired by the British military to help decrypt the most complicated encryption codes in the world at the time, used by the Nazis. The code was called Enigma, and Turing created a machine that was able to decode the Nazis' messages and save countless lives in the war. Historians estimate that the war was shortened in length by around 2 years, and about 14 million lives were saved thanks to Turing's breakthroughs. Besides his achievements in World War II, Turing is also credited with coming up with the principle for the first modern computer. Much of the movie focuses on Turing's homosexuality. It is true that Turing was actually a closeted gay man in real life and kept his sexuality under the radar for most of his life until he was convicted of gross indecency, meaning that he had been caught being homosexual. The movie did a great job of showing how evidence was built against Turing and how he was eventually convicted. In the movie, Cumberbatch depicts Turing as being extremely sickly towards the end of the movie, and then reveals to the audience that he has been required by the government to take medication to castrate him, or else he would have had to spend time in prison. All of this is actually what happened to Turing in real life. What the movie does not show is that this drove Turing to insanity, and he would end up committing suicide before his time on the medication was over. The director of the movie decided to leave the film with a happy ending, instead of killing the mood of the audience and actually showing the suicide. Turing covered an apple in cyanide before taking one last bite and ending his life. Besides a few minor plot details I will discuss soon, the plot of the movie is highly historically accurate. Turing actually did leave his teaching position at Cambridge to work as a codebreaker for the government. Turing did actually create a machine to break the Germans' Enigma code, and he really did save millions of lives by providing the British with secret information about the Nazis throughout the war. In addition, the movie depicts the characters burning all of the documents and papers they had compiled once the war was over. Although this may not have actually happened, the members of Turing's code-breaking team were held to secrecy by the British government, and Turing's contributions to World War II were kept secret for over 50 years, and he was eventually granted a pardon in 2013 for the gross indecency charge. One fictional scene from the movie took place in the headmaster's office, where a young Alan would receive news that his best and only friend, Christopher, had died. In real life, Alan had known about Christopher's illness ahead of time, and he was aware that Christopher's illness would eventually take his life. That scene was created to shock the audience and show an immediate emotional impact on young Alan. This scene also sets up another fictional part of the movie. After Christopher's death, Alan did actually become devoted to learning how to break codes because he and Christopher used to write to each other in code. In the movie, Alan names the machine used to break Enigma Christopher. In real life, this never happened, despite the huge influence that Christopher actually had on Turing's life. The final plot point in the movie that is fictional is the way that Turing's homosexuality was discovered. In the movie, a police detective believes that Alan Turing is a Soviet spy and ends up unintentionally discovering that Turing was gay and gets him charged with gross indecency. In real life, there was never any suspicion that Turing was a spy, but his homosexuality was discovered.